What's up guys, Alex here. So I've had many desk setups over the past few years and I never really made an effort with the cable management. I used the old IKEA desk with the tabletop on the two Alex drawers, and you could kind of get away with just stuffing the cables behind one of the Alex drawers and they'd be out of sight, but it was always a bit of a mess behind there. And since I got this new sit stand desk, that hiding space is gone and I really had to make an effort in organising the cables and making sure it looked nice and tidy. So I wanted to keep this as simple as possible and keep it within a certain budget. So in total I spent this much on all the gear that I use to cable manage my desk. So I'll leave everything that I bought linked down below in case you want to check it out. But the first thing that I got is the cable management tray from Fully. Now this is the most expensive thing on this list, and you probably don't need to get it, but I just got it because I really liked its functionality. Basically you screw in two brackets and then you can open and close it as and when you need. And I just thought this was really good because if I do make changes and stuff like that, I can open it up and have easy access to all the cables in there. Again, not necessary, but it's a really nice feature to have. The next thing that I used is these 3M cable ties, and basically they came with the desk, but you can get them on Amazon. And they're really handy because they stick to the underside of your desk and tuck any loose cabling up as close to the desk as you need. Because there's a lot of slack on these tables and stuff like that, they're really handy to gather up all the loose cables and keep them as close to the underside of the table so they're out of sight. Then I got these Velcro cable ties, which are just really handy to have in general around your house. Great for tying up loose cables and gathering up slack. I use them to guide the cables down my monitor stand and keep it nice and tucked in. And the beauty of these is they're Velcro, so you can reuse them and make changes to your desk as and when you need to. Lastly, I got this 3M double-sided sticky tape to attach the power strip to the underside of the desk, because I only want one cable coming from the desk into the wall to make it look as clean as possible. I then attach everything like the plug for the desk itself, the monitor, the lights into this power strip, and they're tucked up right beside the desk so you can't see them pretty much from any angle. So step one is to kind of clear the whole desk off and attach your cable tray. Now I flipped my desk over to do this to make it sure it's perfectly lined up, but you probably didn't need to do this. You could have done this from the desk standing up. To screw the cable tray on, I used this really cool screwdriver that I picked up from Amazon. I think it looks really cool, it's nice and aesthetic, and yeah, it did the job great for me. Next, I used the 3M cable ties to guide all the loose cables that come with the desk. I'm not too sure why the cables on the desk are so long, because you know, there's no need for it. I don't think I got the second biggest desk size, so even the biggest size, I don't think you'd use all the cables, so there was a lot of slack, so these 3M cable ties came in really handy to guide them and make sure they're stuck to the underside of the desk. Next, I used the double-sided sticky tape to attach the power strip to the underside of the desk. This is probably the most important part of having a clean setup, because now any of the electronics that need power plug straight into this power strip instead of the cables coming from the desk down into the wall. So I would recommend getting a big enough power strip so that you're covered for all your electronics and you also have a bit of room to upgrade. I personally got a 6-slot power strip and I've already used 4, so I have 2 left to play around with if I need to upgrade or add anything to my desk. Now with that stuck to the underside of the desk, all you can see is one cable coming from the desk into the wall, and that powers everything on the desk, including the desk itself. I thought about getting one of those cable trunks, but I think they are more for someone who has multiple cables and want to group them together. Because I only have one cable, I didn't think it was necessary. Next step is to put everything back on your desk and figure out where all the cables need to go and what needs to be tucked into the cable tray itself. For me, that was this absolutely massive power brick that comes with this LG monitor. Absurdly big, very annoying that it's there, but it's nice to be able to just tuck that into the cable tray and now it's out of sight. I also tucked in any of the slack cables that came from my Gobi Flow Pro, light bars that I have attached to the back of the monitor, and the actual plug that comes with the desk itself. It's quite long, so I was able to tuck that all up and put it in the cable tray itself. Okay, so we're pretty much there. All the cables underneath the desk are tucked in and out of sight. All I need to do now is organize the cables behind the monitor. And to do that, I used these Velcro cable ties that I spoke about earlier, tied all the loose cables together and kind of attached them to the monitor arm itself so that they're as out of sight as possible. From the back of the monitor, it doesn't look that pretty, but looking at the monitor front on, you wouldn't know that all the cables are there. So it's actually a lot easier to cable manage your setup than I had thought. Granted, I do have a pretty basic setup without any speakers or microphones or anything like that, but I feel like I've set it up in such a way that when I do add speakers or microphones or anything like that, I can kind of seamlessly add them in without creating too much of a mess. But this is the final result. I'm really happy with it. I hope you found this useful. And yeah, thanks a mil for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.